This is VOA News. I'm Steve Miller. Authorities said an electrical short circuit appeared to cause a fire that killed at least 43 people in a factory in central New Delhi early Sunday as relatives of the victims gathered outside a mortuary to identify the dead. Authorities say firefighters had to fight the blaze from 100 meters away because it broke out in one of the area's many alleyways, tangled in electrical wire and too narrow for vehicles to access. Outside the mortuary, which was guarded by dozens of police officers, some of the workers' relatives said they had received phone calls from men trapped inside who begged for them to call the fire brigade. Thousands of black-clad protesters from all walks of life marched in Hong Kong Sunday under a crisp blue sky to march for human rights and democratic reforms in the financial hub. Reuters Emer McCarthy reports.
It was the first time since August that the Civil Human Rights Front, organiser of million-strong marches earlier in the year that paralysed the Asian Finance Centre, had received authorities' permission for a rally. It estimated turnout of 800,000, but police argued it was much lower at a mere 183,000. China blames the ongoing unrest, now in its sixth month, on interference by foreign governments, including the United States and Britain.
That was Reuters reporter Emer McCarthy. The United States U.S. President Donald Trump on Sunday warned North Korean leader Kim Jong-un against hostile military actions, even as Pyongyang announced it had conducted a very important test at a satellite launching facility. North Korea's state media said the test was conducted Saturday at the Sohae Satellite Launching Station number 7. This is VOA News. According to documents reviewed by Kyodo News Service, Japan's army during World War II asked the government to provide one sex slave for every 70 soldiers. VOA's Arash Arabasadi has more on the historical documents that highlight the state role in the so-called comfort woman system.
The 23 documents were gathered by Japan's Cabinet Secretariat between April 2017 and March 2019. According to Kyodo, they included 13 classified dispatches from the Japanese consulates in China to the Foreign Ministry in Tokyo, dating back to 1938. The sex slaves issue has been a source of a painful dispute between South Korea and Japan. The women were from Korea, Taiwan, and Australia, the Philippines, as well as Japan. Arash Arabasadi, VOA News.
FBI officials say they're trying to determine a motive for Friday's shooting at a Florida naval base that left the gunman and 3 others dead. AP correspondent Mike Hempen has more.
Special Agent in Charge Rachel Rojas says investigators are working under the presumption the shooting was an act of terrorism.
This allows us to take advantage of investigative techniques that can help us more quickly identify and then eliminate any additional potential threats to the rest of our community.
Rojas says it's not known whether the gunman, who is from Saudi Arabia, acted alone. A U.S. official not authorized to speak publicly tells the AP investigators believe the gunman made social media posts in which he talked about U.S. support for Israel and claimed Americans are anti-Muslim. I'm Mike Hempen.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani presented what he called a budget to resist sanctions to Parliament Sunday and suggested a possible multi-billion-dollar loan from Russia would be key to a source of revenues. The draft budget comes with pressure mounting from U.S. sanctions, and Iranians are still reeling from a deadly crackdown last month on street unrest sparked by fuel rationing and a cut in subsidies. Carol Spinney, the man who created Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch for Sesame Street, has died at the age of 85 at his home in Connecticut. AP entertainment correspondent Margie Zeroletta takes a look at his career.
Goodbye, Gordon.
Carol Spinney had his right hand in the air operating Big Bird's mouth for 46 years until 2015, and then still provided his voice until last year. He based the Oscar the Grouch voice on a New York cabbie. Spinney said in a 2015 Associated Press interview he liked Big Bird better because he was like his kid, and Oscar was the guy who never liked him. While people around the world know Big Bird, Spinney said he could lead an anonymous life.
I've been described as the most unknown famous person in America.
I'm Archie Zaraletta.
From Washington, I'm Steve Miller, VOA News.